How long does it take to get over a divorce? Well, everyone's different. Everybody handles life changes and different situations differently, and divorce is no different to that. But what does it actually mean, though, to get over a divorce? Well, science would give you a time. Studies give times. For example, some people say a month for every year you were together. Others say between 3 and 5 years. And you may find that really daunting, and I'm not surprised. It's not great if you've been married for 30 years to be told that it's going to take a month every year to get over your divorce. And what I would say is we don't have to take that at face value, because there's a different way of looking at it. You can say, well, actually, how does each person process these life changes, and what does it actually mean to get over a divorce? I think if you're able to put the past to rest, if you're able to look back at the situation as a factual one rather than one that brings up the emotions all over again. So if you're able to be emotionally detached from it, not to suppress it, but actually you just see it as something that happened and your life is different now. Or if you're able to accept what the other person has done or where the other person is, and not see it as any sort of a reflection on you, but you're in one place and they're in another, and that's fine. You accept the new situation. If your present happiness is greater than it was in the past, all of these are indications that you've been able to move on. And we can't always tell, and this is why I question these numbers, is because we can't always tell from the outside whether somebody has reached any of those milestones, or maybe there's others that I haven't really thought about. It's really how it feels inside for you, or how it feels inside for the other person. But the main thing that is going to actually start that process of moving on after divorce is to start taking the steps. Absolutely critical. Yes, there is likely to need to be a period of processing the shock if it came as a blindsided event for you, or even if you initiated it, but it's not something that you wanted, and then there's self-doubt, all of those things. There may be grief at the loss of somebody you thought was your best friend, as well as your lover and somebody you were in an intimate relationship with. But once that has been expressed, you get to that point where it's enough is enough. And that's when you know it's time to move on. Divorce in itself has the aspect of being very practical in terms of the legal aspects and the pieces of paper. So the divorce comes through and it's finalized, and the piece of paper is signed and the line is drawn under it in practical terms. But the emotional aftermath can be completely different, because it's how we respond emotionally to those changes that have happened in the lifestyle. So there'll be changes in financial situations, there'll be changes in relationships, in lifestyle, in friendship groups. Self-worth can take a hit. And these emotions, they take a while to process. We need to process the shock and the shame and the guilt and the rejection. The sort of things that how long it takes depends on is maybe where we were in the first place in terms of how we felt about ourselves or how we feel now about ourselves. It will depend on the amount of support we feel we have, the coping skills we might already have gathered. It will depend on how much life is still intertwined with the partner, and that can be children, childcare, work situation, friendship groups, all sorts of things like that. So if life is still closely intertwined, then that can have an effect. And the other thing that can have effect is any unaddressed codependency traits, where there's a reliance, an unhealthy reliance on the other to fulfill some sort of need. But then again, there's also factors that can help speed up moving on after a divorce. For example, it's good to make your space your own, especially if you're still in the home that you share together. But even if you're not, have the space that you choose will be a big step forward. If you can accept the situation, accept that the other person, whatever they've chosen is their right to choose, and that you can't change somebody else, but you can change yourself, that helps to move us towards acceptance of the situation. And that's another big hurdle. Creating really healthy self-care habits make a difference. So that's maybe healthy eating, good sleep patterns, and just an overall healthy lifestyle where there's self-care involved. And an openness to new experiences can also really help the situation, because we're going to have to create a new life after divorce. There's a new foundation, a new setup completely, and being open to new experiences. Even if you find things that you don't like, well, that's fine. You know that's what you don't like. You keep moving on until you find something that you do like. But that openness to move forward, to try new experiences, really helps speed up the process. And, you know, once you start to find that you're enjoying the journey, that you can see the benefits that you're getting, that's when you know that you're well on the way to moving on after your divorce.